Hi, and today we're going to be doing 1.3 for college algebra, modeling with linear equations. Whenever you hear something like modeling, be ready for a lot of story problems and things like that. So, in general, you have a verbal description or a written one with words that you have to sort of analyze, translate in your own mind of what you want to do, assign labels and variables, and turn that into an algebraic equation. So, you accept the job with an annual income of $32,000. This includes your salary and a year-end bonus of 500. You are paid twice a month. What is your gross pay for each paycheck? Well, I have to analyze that these payments twice a month are monthly or bi-monthly, and this is an annual income. So those are not consistent values there. Annual being for the full year. So the first thing I would do is recognize that my annual income has got to be the total. So I'd put it right there on the left. 24 paychecks because of course there's 12 months times two payments gives me the 24 paychecks times whatever amount I would get per paycheck plus my bonus. So this turns into sort of a linear equation of 32,300 equals 24x plus 500. From there, now that I have a normal equation, I can just solve for x. So that's kind of the big thing. Once you get your equation written down and solved for, or at least expressed, the process turns into a normalized uh, equation. So the main situations you have to look out for, totals where equals something, you're doing some sort of representation of everything to the right-hand side. Part plus part equals a whole. For example, peanuts and cashews. So that would be probably a systems of equations. So it would be an x plus y equals a, and another x plus y equals b situation. And then overall, a well-known written equation such as rate times time equals distance. I'll go through some extra equations that come up a lot at the end. Okay. And then, of course, here's just a page describing some main words to see and what they translate to. For example, if you see some, increase by, or more than, it's probably talking about the operation of addition. And then there's some other examples of each of those. So your family has an annual income of $57,000 and monthly expenses of mortgage, car payment, food, utilities, and credit card bills. What percent? So I'm looking for the percent, so I'm going to call that X. That's what I'm solving for. Of your family income does the total amount of the monthly expenses represent? And again, it talks about monthly expenses. So first, I would just simply add all those monthly expenses together. So we would get a total of $2,835. Percent, which I'm trying to solve for, you talked about it's going to be our X. And income per month. Again, this is annual income. So naturally, we're going to divide that by 12 to find our annual income of $4,750. So from there, the percentage times 4,750 has to equal 2835. So we can divide both sides by 4,750. Let's see, 2835. 835 divided by 4,750 gives us 0.596. Now, of course, it's asking specifically about percentages, so we're going to move that place over 2, so we'd say 59.6%. Dimensions of room, a rectangular kitchen is twice as long as it is wide, and the perimeter is 84. So when in doubt, especially with these geometric constructs, you can always draw it. Now, I don't know how long it is, but it's related to how wide it is. So we'd say we have a width of W and it has 2w because it's twice as long, so that's 2 times however wide it is. And by definition of rectangle, this is w, so these have to be congruent as well. And then it's talking about perimeter. So perimeter means I can either do one value time or plus 2 values of the other one, or just add them up all together. Either way, we would get 84 as the perimeter equals 6x. You can either do it 2 times 2x because I have 2w, 2w, or and 2 times x, in this case I use w's, or you can just add them all up. Either would be fine. And then of course, divide by 6, we get x equals 14. So it would have a width of 14 feet. And then we could do 14 times 2 to say that it had a length of 28. A plane flies nonstop from Portland, Oregon to Atlanta, Georgia, a distance of 2,170 miles. After 3 hours in the air, it flies over Topeka, which is about 1440 from Portland. So in 3 hours, it traveled 1440 miles. 3 hours. Assuming the plane flies at a constant speed, how long does the entire trip take? So this would be a distance equals rate times time problem. The nice thing is I know the total distance is going to be 2170. Rate would be speed. I don't know that yet. And time is what the question's asking, because how long does the entire trip take? I'm going to call that x, or probably should just call it t for time. Okay, but I should figure out the speed. Well, I know that right now it traveled 1440 in 3 hours. So I can do 1440 divide by 3 and find out that it goes about 480 miles per hour. I can plug that in right there. Naturally, to get t by itself, we can divide both sides by 480. So we get 2170 divided by 480. So we get, about 4.5 hours. Next one. Mixing problems. This would be a part plus part equals a whole. As I referred to, like those problems with the peanuts and cashews, like in your homework. A chemist wants to make a 5-liter mixture of acid solution that contains 30% acid. They have a bottle of 20% acid solution and a bottle of 35% acid solution. So we're going to have to use 2 different things to add it all together. For the sake of clarity, I'm going to call the 35% solution my x and the 20% my y. So easy enough. I know the entire mixture is going to be 5. So I'm going to get x plus y equals 5 for my first equation. Now, in order for a systems of equations problem to work, you need the same number of equations as you have variables. Here we have 2 different variables, so I'm going to need a second equation. Well, I can use the percentages of acidity, in this case, as coefficients. So I can do 0.35x plus 0.2y has to equal, well, here I'm aiming for 30% for the 5-liter. So I'm going to get 0.3 times 5. The nice thing is those are just numbers, and I can actually do that calculation. So we get 1.5. So I get 0.35x plus 0.2y equals 1.5. And I'm just going to rewrite my first equation, x plus y equals 5, right on top. So here are my 2 equations that I have. From here, I would do one of the three methods that are common with systems of equations. You can get both y's by themselves, graph, and find the intersection. You could do elimination, or you can do substitution. Here, I'm actually going to do substitution. Substitution is probably the most natural way here. In order to do substitution, you want to get one letter by itself. Well, I'm looking at this second equation that don't have any coefficients, and I'm seeing that if I subtract x from both sides, we get y equals 5 minus x, and my y is now completely isolated. So I can take this entire 5 minus x and plug it in for the other y. So we get something to the effect of 0.35x plus 2 times 5 minus x equals 1.5. The nice thing about this equation here in purple, as I have the rough sketch right there, is I only have x's now. So I can distribute the 2. So 0.35x plus 10 minus 2x equals 1.5. Subtract 10, subtract 10. Combine like terms. See, 0.35 minus 2. We get negative 1.65x equals 1.5 minus 10, that's what, negative 8.5. And then we can divide by negative 1.65. 8.5 divided by 1.65. Ooh, that's incorrect. Goodness gracious, where'd I mess up? Oh, it's not 2 right here. It's 0.2 from earlier. I apologize. So this is actually, I'm just going to erase this all in red. I apologize. So that would be not 10, but 1. And this is 0.2x. Minus 1, we get 0.5. Combine like terms, we would get 0.15x divided by 0.15 divided by 0.15. 0.5 divided by 1.5. We get x equals 1/3. And therefore, y would equal 5 minus 1/3. So y would equal 5 minus 1/3. So 4 2/3 or 4.6 repeating, or let's see, 12 13/3 or 14/3, 14/3. We can, of course, test this with our bottom equation. So 0.35 times 1/3 plus 0.2 times 14/3. Does it equal 1.5? 0.35, 0.35, 1/3 plus 0.2, 14/3, 1.05. What the heck? Where did we go wrong? Oh, goodness gracious. A decimal point again. I apologize profusely. Um, ugh. That should have been 0.5. Oh, shoot, wrong thing. Undo. It doesn't undo my erase? What the heck? This was 0.5 on that side, and I divided by 0.15. Absolutely, as we talked about. Fortunately, in our calculator, we typed 1.5. So 0.5 divided by 0.15. So x is 3 1/3. Goodness. Embarrassing. X equals 3.3 repeating, which would be 10/3. Which means therefore y equals 5 minus 10/3, which should be 5/3. So let's try that. 0.35 times 10/3 plus 0.2 times 5/3. Okay. 1.5. Thank you. Goodness gracious. I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. Brain fried, clearly. Thank you for listening. Oh, last slide. Here's some formulas that might come up based on what you're looking for area perimeter on the left and circumference of two-dimensional shapes or perimeter and non-circles. And on the right, we have some other common equations, specifically with our three-dimensional models. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great day.